ish
Yeah.
of the Garden Report. Christmas
Happy
Eve,
holiday.
otherwise known as one of my best friend Andy Gregory's birthday.
Oh,
Happy
cool.
birthday,
Shout out
Andy!
Andy Gregory. Shout out Andy Gregory.
Andy,
Give it up.
I love guys with two first names, and none more than Andy.
Do you call him Greg's?
Gregor,
Gregsy?
Sir Gregor Clegane. Yeah.
All
So
right, cool.
anyway, Bobby Manning at the Garden.
Happy birthday to everybody else. I can't jump the gun on the big birthday, but happy birthday to everybody else
Yeah.
today.
The rest of it.
We got an important one in a couple of days.
Okay, yeah, we do. So let's get to the game. We're gonna race through quick. It's Christmas Eve tomorrow. People have travel issues. Bobby's gonna try to survive an ice storm getting home.
Yeah.
So
Bobby's on the train tonight. A little train life, dude.
Yeah.
The commuter rail, can't beat it.
I'm not gonna say which one you are. I don't want you to get hounded, but
Yeah. So I want to say, one of the things tonight was 2-point success. But they still shot 46 threes. So, right?
they shot.
A lot of
46
threes, but a lot of shots at the rim too. A lot of transition.
But they got more buckets at the
balance.
rim. They attempted a ton of threes, but they got more buckets at the rim. You could tell right out of the gate. Again, you could see these games where they have like a plan. And again, welcome in everybody, Garden Report. We love you. What's going on?
Welcome in. We started this one kind of quick. I think people are scrambling.
We started
right now.
quick, but you saw right out of the gate just the first possession or two. Just kind of what they wanted to do. They got a couple paint touches, and for right out of the gate, they worked it into Horford in the post. Tatum cuts back door, goes in. Attempted slam, doesn't get it, gets to the free throw line. You could tell there was a little bit of a urgency to try to be a little bit more aggressive. The ball was moving. They just couldn't hit anything. So even though they were trying to play the style of basketball that they were in the first 2 months of the year, it wasn't effective because they still couldn't shoot. And then it kind of turned around, Bobby. What'd you see in the second half that kind of like jump-started them?
Some good pace. And Marcus Smart, I think his return in many ways is the story of this game. Jaylen Brown, great in the second half too, aggressive. But those outlet passes in the fourth.
Yeah.
Some of his defensive activity early, forcing turnovers and just connecting with guys on cuts, setting up sets. He was great in this one. Only shoots 5 times. Thought he had a lot of good driving kicks in this game. They just got back on track. And was it a great game? No, I think it was a good game. They had a lot of trouble in the first half. Gave up a handful of leads after they played some good stretches of minutes. But to blow it open late and look like the Celtics again for a quarter and a half is what you needed tonight. And you'll take it. And I think a ton of guys had good games. The defense was excellent, I think, for probably 70% of this game. And you turn that into offense. So, you've seen the stats, John, from the last couple of games here. They've actually shot well when they've gotten into the half court quickly and taken a shot in the first 8 to 10 seconds of the shot clock. And a lot of that's transition runouts, of course, but also good 3-point looks early in the shot clock. And Smart's so good at getting them set up on those. I mean, 2 of those outlets to end the game there were off of Minnesota misses, and he still got it ahead to Brown on both.
One was off a make.
Yeah, off of makes. Yeah, both of those were off makes. So
Yeah.
So they're back on track. We'll see on Sunday. This is an easy opponent, I think. I just don't know what's going on in Minnesota, but again, take advantage, and they did.
What a goofy bastard Rudy Gobert is. Holy crap. JB, it's a Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Oh, wow. I'm going to actually be able to give some gifts this year. Thank you, JB.
From the back of the Amazon. This isn't our Amazon guy.
No, it's not. It's not, but shout out to Amazon guy, too. He's probably busy right now, I would imagine, with everything going on. But
I love, you know what it is? I'm going to say
Bobby plus Luke, new all-time Christmas video. There it is.
I'm going to say shout out to Nick Gelso for this one, who put that together. He loves his things, his videos.
Nick loves to get the characters
stuff.
moving. Yeah. I got to say, Bobby's was hilarious. I thought mine was pretty funny. John, I don't know if I saw yours. I don't know if there's one out there floating around yet.
I told him not to do one.
Oh, well, then we're definitely going to have him do one then.
Yeah, I don't know whether he did.
So for people who don't know, we have a little Christmas special episode that's either out or coming out. And within that, Nick Gelso, the very talented Nick Gelso, has taken some bits and pieces of it and turned us into like caricatures that are running around dancing like elves, I guess. John, you did call me an elf. That was quite hurtful, actually, a couple days ago. Back to the game. And by the way, I'm getting a lot of comments I'm seeing about the paper towel situation going on behind me. I am home for the holidays. My parents do buy in bulk, and guys are correct. I can clean up. If there's a spill in New Hampshire, I'm there. I can clean it up for the next week.
First responder.
Yeah, just shoot me a text, fire it in my Twitter. I will be there with all the paper towels in the world to help you out. We need to just. I should have known better. I should have moved those, but
It's literally just go
for the
like
OGs.
That, you know?
For the OGs though, they know that's the thing. They know that during COVID that was happening. So, anyways,
when
moving
Jimmy's
on
home
from
for
that.
the holidays, this is when he's back in homeschool. This is what it looks like down there.
I'm on cleanup duty. I'm down in the basement. It's classic like mom's basement situation going on as we speak right now. So, anyways,
Hey, Ma!
Ma, the brownies.
Meatloaf. There's a
So
lot.
the brownies would be out by now.
What's she doing up there? There's a lot.
Speaking of brownies, you
there's
guys
a
have all
lot-
commented on the game. I haven't said one thing in the game. I got to give my shout out to Jaylen Brown for showing up in the fourth quarter.
Brown gets the brownie.
Brown gets the brownie award tonight. Brownies
10
are coming out
points
of the
in
oven.
2 minutes to start the fourth. That was incredible.
Aggressive as hell. Gave him exactly what I don't know if Mazzulla was just like, Jaylen, we're giving you the ball. We want you to be the only guy in the gym right now. Just go to the hole, do your thing. And Jaylen Brown just went on and
That's
did
what
that.
he does sometimes.
Because that is what he does sometimes. And I understand that it's impossible to do that for 48 minutes. But I wish that he did it a little bit more. Still a little cold from 3, but I'm not going to criticize that. I'm going to focus on the good in the fourth quarter. It's the holidays. We're going to be positive and spread cheer. And I'm choosing to focus on the fourth quarter performance of Jaylen Brown. I thought it was desperately needed. This could not have been a game the Celtics lost. Shout out Minnesota and Anthony Edwards. I think Anthony Edwards is a top 5-10 future talent in the league. I think he has that potential anyways. Maybe 5's a little.
He
5's a
hammered
little
them
high.
for a while this
5's a
game,
little
yeah.
much, but you guys know what I'm saying. He's an unbelievable athlete and player.
No, he's great. But, Brown is so funny, interesting, too, because between the fourth quarter and the third quarter, he came out gunning in the third quarter as well, but he didn't hit a freaking thing. I think he missed 4
Well, Tatum
threes
wasn't out there, right, in the fourth?
He missed in the third quarter. Jaylen
start
missed
the fourth
4 threes in the first 2.5 minutes of the quarter. Really sloppy start as Minnesota kind of extended the lead. Then in the fourth quarter, just bing, 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 just everything dropped. So that's what he does. It's still not an outstanding shooting. Now he hoisted a ton of shots tonight.
Yeah,
Was
I
it
know.
29?
I don't know. 13 threes. Oof.
And 13 threes. So yeah, how many?
13.
13 of 29 and 13 3-point attempts, 3 of 13.
I thought a lot of those were open, though. Those are good looks.
So that's where we're going to get into the open
then they should hit 'em.
versus rush thing. Everything is open sort of, but they're not great shots. When they're working for it, it's better. But he did get things going. He got moving without the ball a little bit. He got out in transition. He attacked. That's key when that stuff isn't falling. Really, when they got back into the game, they didn't shoot their way back into the game. They started to penetrate and attack, and then they started to get those paint touches and then kick out, and then they started knocking down a few threes in that fourth quarter there, and that really kind of changed things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bobby, what you got?
You like what they did around the rim in this game. I think 10 of 15 in the third in the paint area. You didn't shoot well from 3 in that quarter, 2 of 12 from 3, but that's where the game started to turn around.
I think they missed their first 9 or 8 for that quarter. They were really rough start, right?
You took advantage of some Minnesota nonsense, like that play where Rudy was dribbling behind his back at the top. They started launching a lot of shots. He was so bad in this one, and
what a freaking goof, man! Oh my God,
they went ice cold.
Hey, here we go.
They had some wacky lineups out there, and you took advantage. Like Al Horford, I thought really stretched the floor. Derrick White setting a tone early. I think his contributions were super important, and he got going there in the third again too, with the charge take and all that. So good game from him. Good game from Smart. You're pretty much stacking up good games up and down their lineup, and it's been a while since they've been able to do that.
We got a good Derrick White game.
Yeah. So getting him going, I think, is super important because he was the guy, even if the team and Tatum and Brown specifically started rolling again, you were still worried that White was going to get lost in the shuffle, that Hauser would fade away. Like those guys lower on the roster that were really struggling there would have some tough times getting back going, and he started what, 9 of 12 in one. He was just super efficient, getting around the basket again. He got back downhill. They were super aggressive, and you know what? They were on Wednesday too. They just missed a ton. I think they took 57 shots in the paint against Indiana, and they just shot like 46% on them. This game, much more efficient, much more poise in there. They got a lot of free throws too.
Yeah.
Again, you're back on track. That's all you can really say about this one. It's a starting point.
Big boy games from a lot of players. Derrick White, the haircut, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Hey, you were calling for a haircut last show.
The new shoes, I hate those. I hate those narratives.
You know what does matter though?
Hitting shots.
Well, no, Marcus Smart was back.
Smart was huge. So Smart, if the Brownie wasn't going to Jaylen, the Brownie was going to Marcus. I'll say for 4 quarters in terms of consistency, I thought it was Marcus tonight. I thought he was great. Thanks to the super chat here from Billy, Jaylen Brown. I agree, one of the most exciting and confusing and confounding players. He can drive you absolutely nuts 1 trip, 2 trips down the court, and then absolutely catch fire. It's just kind of the way he's gone. But he was great. White was good because he scored. He had 3 baskets total in his last 3 games. So this was
it's hard to do.
Man, did he need this.
That's a Josue Pavon stat line, to be honest. He's not here to defend himself.
He needed help, but I agree. I thought it was the Marcus effect. Even when it wasn't going well, he really kept them connected. And,
And Derrick White can be Derrick White. And, it doesn't have to try to be a different player.
Yeah, and you got it, honestly, up and down the starting lineup tonight. If we're gonna nitpick a little bit about the game, you got to start looking and potentially worrying about the bench a little bit because they're bad now at basketball.
We suck again.
And they were, oh no, we suck again, which is too bad. But big boy efforts from the entire starting lineup tonight, including White, who needed this bad.
Did. And you know what? Confidence might just go a long way for certain guys, and White seems to be one of those guys. Talk about highs, or talk about Jaylen Brown with his highs being highs, his lows being lows. Man, that is Derrick White, right? Because we've seen him, to start this season, 20 games in. We're about to crown Derrick White the, first team all offense and first team all defense, I think, at one point. And then, like you said, John, I think he had, what did you say, 1 basket in the last 3 games. And really, you can go a lot further back than 3 games to describe how much he's been struggling. But credit to him, this is a night where he was able to sort of look a lot more comfortable out there, play within himself. And again, I don't know if a lot of that had to do with the fact that Smart was back and White kind of slides back into maybe a more natural role for himself. It could be that, or it could just be, he sees a couple shots go down and that just makes him feel a lot more comfortable out there. I don't know exactly what it is. Or it could be the haircut, sure, why not? We'll go with the haircut. Look good, feel good, play good. Right, John?
Thank you for the super chat.
There's no better reset.
Merry Christmas to everybody in Nashville.
Thank you, K. Barboza. Yeah, appreciate that, man. I'm a big Nashville guy. I've been there a couple times.
Yeah, me too. I've been there a few times.
They probably hate guys like us, though.
We look forward to this as well, guys. So thank you for hanging out with us on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Christmas Eve. And then we have
forgotten day. This is probably the worst shopping day of the year, Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I've had many of those.
Yeah.
Pink hat time.
Oh man,
I've been banned from shopping within 3 days of Christmas anymore because it leaves my wife
turn into a monster.
Yeah, no, it's just I end up leaving my wife alone.
I actually got a phone call. I got a phone call around 5. A friend requesting to come along with them for some last minute. It's become a tradition, but I'm gonna have to.
No good enough friend. That's like the friend who asks you to help him move out. I don't know what's worse. Those are up there.
I needed it too, Jimmy.
You needed to go too. Gotcha. Okay, I thought you just wanted company.
What always cracks me up is going out holiday shopping late and then getting impatient. Listen, asshole. You're standing in line and people are like, can we move this along? I'm like, you're the freaking idiot that's shopping at 4:30 on Christmas Eve, dude. It's like you have no one to blame but yourself.
Christmas Eve, everyone should be on the same page, but today's different because there's still that extra day. I feel like today specifically was unique because I think the weather gave a lot of people either screwed a lot of people or the real diehards my buddy Danny, for example, he was out early this morning just fighting the weather. He said it couldn't have worked out any better that, there was this crazy little weather pattern that came through because
Helps.
it allowed him to get all his stuff done without fighting all the traffic and people. Shout out Danny.
Yeah, I agree. I actually
big Celtics fan too.
I've always liked it because of the lateness. I like going out Christmas Eve, so I am going to go out for a little bit tomorrow, pick up a couple knickknacks. But
yeah, if you know what you're getting,
the bulk is
you're
done.
Get it,
no, I
that's
need
fine.
some stocking stuffers. I need some
that's
stocking
fine,
stuffers.
But you don't want to be like, oh, I have no idea what to get this person, and I need
no,
to go
that's
tomorrow.
overwhelming.
That's horrible because everything's picked.
That's
picked
a disaster.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah, let's pay some bills real quick,
Anyways,
and then we'll get into a little bit more about the
tangent.
game. We'll get more about the game, but we want to tell you about one of our sponsors here, Rocket Money, formerly Truebill. Everybody here has been.
I might
through
need
this
Rocket
before.
Money after this weekend.
You probably have a bunch of unused subscriptions you have no idea even exist. Rocket Money, what it does for you, it's going to put those all in one place. It's going to seek them all out, and it's going to say, dude, do you want these? And the answer is probably, in a lot of cases, no. There's probably, statistically, the numbers show there's about 80% of us out there have subscriptions we have no idea we're still paying for. Some of them you've probably been paying for years. Some of those things have escalated in price so high beyond what it was when
That's
you
a
were
good
first
point.
like, oh, $199 for 6 months, awesome. And then you look and you're like, I'm paying $27 a month for this. There's quite a few of those. You have no idea how high they go. So Rocket Money consolidates all of those. Most people think they spend about $80 a month on this stuff. You're spending probably closer to $200. You can save hundreds and hundreds, if not $1,000 in a year. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, and guys, that's on average too. So there might be like a subscription that charges you like twice a year, and you keep forgetting to cancel it, and then it just hits you out of nowhere because they're not going to remind you.
I think I did that with one. I think I did. I don't want to say who because they've threatened to sponsor our show before, so I don't want to tell you who it was.
They've threatened to sponsor our show.
Yeah, and John was like, "No, John, what the f?"
No. But I canceled, thank goodness. But I missed the payment by like 3 weeks,
Nothing
and I
worse.
re-upped for an entire year for $200 something. Anyway, long story short, check this out at rocketmoney.com/garden. You can save hundreds if you can cancel all those unnecessary subscriptions. The other thing it does, finds some subscriptions and sometimes gives you better prices. It'll help you negotiate down, which is a really valuable thing. Anybody who supports any of our sponsors, boom, phenomenal T-shirt. If you go into Rocket Money, there's a free function. If you use the premium function, which will really let you get going with the stuff that you need, send us your receipt, and I will tell you exactly how you can get yourself a phenomenal T-shirt.
Rocket Money. Last thing about Rocket Money, I know that they're pumping the subscription thing. That's great, but they also there's way more to that when you go to the website. It's all about money management. So if you feel like you're spending way outside your means, or you just don't have a good grip on what you're spending, especially around the holidays, you need to get your shit together. Pardon my French, for the new year. Maybe that's a resolution. Get your finances in order. Rocket Money is a great avenue and a great way to sort of get jump started on that. Okay.
Check that out. Bobby, I want to ask you a question because, before the game, Joe Mazzulla got a little defensive, and he's been a little defensive and testy just about how they're playing. Are they playing well enough? Is he doing enough of a job to help them right the wrongs? Should he be letting them play through it? And he's definitely kind of gotten, I wouldn't say defensive, but his ears are up, right? That he knows that, like, stuff's being said. Just your thoughts on him. And, kind of whatever role he might have played in them coming out a little bit better. Because let's put it this way. It wasn't a clean game. It wasn't a perfect game. I think you can say this was an effort game for sure. I did not feel like this was one where there was some sloppy stuff. There were some misses early. But I think the effort compared to how they were these last couple of games was significantly higher.
Yeah, and people were after Joe. I think this chat was probably people online, and I found it interesting. Brad never, I say this all the time, Brad's never available to the media. And he showed up at shoot around, jumped in the scrum.
And that's a big one.
And threw a big lifeline to Joe, I thought that's the biggest reason he came out this morning and took an interview, was to really throw his support behind Joe, say he's doing a great job. And
thanks, Nick.
The timing was very interesting.
Yeah,
but it wasn't. It made a lot of sense.
I think that set a tone for the day. And then, very defensive of a bunch of different things. I think he heard people responding to his comment on Sunday that they played great in the loss. he's wondering why guys weren't talking about him saying that they had bad possessions and wins, but now highlighting bad possessions and losses, and just kind of rattling off a bunch of gripes in terms of the coverage of him, coverage of the team as a whole, and feeling good about the team's ability to respond. He basically kind of stayed true to this optimism he's been carrying throughout this stretch, and I think he turned a little bit on Wednesday in terms of questioning the effort, but his big thing is that he didn't think the Celtics were intending to come out and play without effort. He thinks that like mistakes piled up and guys got down on themselves, and you even saw it in this game sometimes when the misses piled up, when they made a few turnovers or mistakes early, the defense slipped big time. And I think you're starting to see that be a trend with this team, is their offense kind of dictates their defense. And once they started to rack up some easy looks on the break and around the basket in that third quarter, they got rolling. But very defiant Joe pregame, certainly, and I'm interested to see what he said postgame as well, because this is probably one of those feather in his cap type victories. But in terms of his approach there, I think he has had a few moments this year where he's really gotten ahead of himself, saying like, all right, the defense moved in the number one position for a couple games here. Then the third game, they'll have a flop. So I asked about the consistency going in. He kind of shot back at me about the defense, saying we're top 10, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I think Joe, very defensive in terms of the team, himself, and where they're at right now.
Yeah. Jimmy, you've seen this a bunch. I want to just quickly thank you again for the super chat.
Thank you, Vibing.
Thanks, Vibing. We are going to talk about that Bucks game. I think
we will answer this. Yes,
we will answer this. We're going to get back to it a little bit later. We're going to talk about it on the last few minutes of the show, previewing that Christmas game. Bucks, of course, as many of you know, lost to the surging Nets. If we do season-ending apology cam, which I think we are going to do, I'm thinking of doing a Day of Atonement show. That's going to be one for Bobby for sure. The Nets actually look real these days, which is interesting. But Jimmy, we've seen this in sports a million times, right? Like the GM, it doesn't matter what sport, the coach is catching heat, and the GM just makes himself available, whether they just show up to practice or sometimes sometimes Brad will do the whip around interview like, hey, Globe, do you guys want to talk to me?
All of a sudden the Globe
hey, Athletic, do you guys want to talk? We're making Brad available. Oh, really? For me? No,
it was very surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I wonder, and Bobby, you mentioned how Mazzulla was a little surly, maybe, if that's the word. I wonder if what he felt about Brad needing to maybe come down and speak, and if he thought that maybe that was annoying to him. Maybe he feels like, that like, he doesn't want to feel like the GM has to go defend him and vouch for him and commend him and stick up for him. You know what I memean? I don't know if any of that's true, but I'm wondering if any of those two things are connected. But as John said, it's not strange at all, and actually it's expected. I think it would have been a lot weirder if we didn't hear from Brad.
He's twisting in the wind for a while. It starts to become, it's like, why aren't you covering him? Like, is there a problem?
And Danny would do that for Brad, right, John?
Well, everybody does it for everybody. And what Jimmy just said is 1,000% right. When they don't do it, you're like, wow, he must not have their back. Or when the GM is floundering and the owners don't speak up, you're like, ooh, So like it's that chain of command thing. The guy at the higher on the food chain has to get the person's back, and if they don't during tumultuous times, and if they don't, that almost, as Jimmy said, speaks louder. So but Brad kind of had to step in here, yeah.
And also, I think when you see frustration in anybody, it's a reflection of themselves. You can't tell me that he's not frustrated with the way things are going. So, of course, he's going to get annoyed or frustrated at some of the questioning. Right. Not to say that the questioning isn't fair, but he knows it already. You know what I mean? And he sees it. He's poring over the film. Bobby, you said you saw him there at 11 a.m. on Wednesday. So it's not like he's not putting the effort. It's not like he's probably not staying up very late at night and losing sleep over some of these games. Yeah. So all of that stuff goes into play when you go through a streak like this. And this is the hardest professional streak of his lifetime, right? Of his career. At
that's
the NBA
what we
level.
wonder, Jimmy. How's he going to respond when they really hit some adversity?
Sure, and I think we're seeing it, and it's not going to be perfect, and there's going to, like anything in life, there's going to be things that you say or the way you say something that maybe in the heat of the moment you wish maybe you could have said it differently or not said it at all. And I'm not saying that it rose to that level, but you're being tasked with answering a line of questioning, under the gun, and sometimes your emotions can get the best of you. But credit to them tonight. The players showed up for him. Like I said, obviously earlier, Jaylen Brown had a really strong second half to this game. Tatum gave you 30. Obviously, he wasn't the star of this game. Smart's return, Al Horford was big. So guys responded. Derrick White, we mentioned him already. And I think, this was exactly the type. And again, this isn't a top 5 win. And I know they didn't even play great for long stretches. People keep saying that in the chat. But at the end of the day, the result is a win. And you go into a big, big game on Christmas Day on a positive note. You don't have to answer questions after the game. Is it time to make some changes? Is it time to really switch things up? What's going on here? You put that all beside you and sort of build a little bit of momentum. Enjoy your Christmas Eve tomorrow and get ready, get in the right mindset for the Bucks.
Yeah, start making your pies.
Yeah, start. John, the oven at 420 already, or
Bobby,
what?
you got a bolt? You can go, buddy.
Yeah, my last point is my whole feeling about Joe entering this year period was that regardless of Joe's abilities, and I think he has proven his abilities to some degree. Again, I think we all said this isn't about Joe the other day. The players were going to have to set a tone. And I think there's good evidence that the players really set the tone for what they were doing earlier in the year. And then tonight, they come out with great energy. I love Horford after that big run, like holding up the tee. I don't know if he was like mocking like a timeout the other way. That was great. Good energy. Smart was flying all over the place. This was just square one, I think, of getting back on their feet. It wasn't a perfect game, but so much stuff to feel good about.
It's not, but here's the contract with the players coach, okay? And I'm not saying Mazzulla's a flat-out players coach, but if Ime's a tough guy and Joe's a let-them-play guy or Brad was a let-them-play guy, the contract you have between player and coach in that scenario is the players have to show up to not make an asshole out of the coach. If the coach is going to let you be you and do your thing because he's going to either trust you or he wants to treat you like men or treat you with respect and let you do your thing, let you be loose, let you be free, let you live through mistakes, you can't make an asshole out of him. As soon as you do, that contract is broken. So
they hung him out to dry a little bit.
They have to show up for the coach. You cannot just stop doing it because then it's like, guys, what are we doing here? So that's how it works. If you have the taskmaster, when you play one of those games, you're going to run back into the locker room. He's not going to say a friggin' word to you. And then it's going to be like, oh, man, tomorrow's going to be so bad during film. You have those coaches. Joe, I don't know what kind of guy he is yet, but they had to show up, and it is on the player. So Bobby's got to go. He's got to do Celtics reporter
All right, guys.
things.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Bobby. We'll see you Sunday,
All I
bro.
want for Christmas is you, buddy. We'll see you on
Bobby,
on Sunday.
We still have to discuss your music, your Christmas music, and a couple other comments. We'll have to do that on the Christmas Day game.
Well, check it out. I think that episode of those things will be coming soon.
We have to dive in live, I think, a little bit, but yeah, we will be discussing them.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
See you, buddy.
Peace.
Jimmy and I will put a bow on it. We'll talk a little bit about the Bucks as well. And in preview.
No Sherrod tonight? Damn.
No Sherrod. But we are going to have a full house, I believe, on Christmas. Before we transition over to the Bucks, tell you guys once again about another one of our sponsors. And again, our cup runneth over. We've got yet another sponsor coming on board. We got to do extra long shows to squeeze all these guys in the new year. We'll tell you all about it. I'll sneak it out on Sunday.
I don't even know this one.
I'll give you guys a preview of who it is. It's a sponsor we've had on before, and it's one that I think is going to be perfect for you heading into the New Year's. Actually, I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you after this one. I don't want to get in AG's way.
Can we pay this bill first?
Let's pay these bills. Athletic Greens, again, it's about that time of year we're filled with, you've had
dude.
pie. And whatever it is, and we all know we kind of get at our worst at this time of year. You shut it down, you let things go. It gets dark outside, and then you don't go to the gym as much, and you're just powering down, and you got to start it back up again. So really good opportunity here if you are looking for that kind of perfect, like, let's kick it into gear for the new year sort of thing. Athletic Greens is probably the supplement that you want to align yourself with. 75 vitamins and minerals in one little scoop. You dump it in the water in the morning. It takes care of all of your health needs: mental clarity, alertness, energy, focus, gut health, everything that you could imagine. It doesn't matter what diet you're on. It's paleo friendly, keto friendly, whatever that is. Virtually no sugar at all. Highly endorsed products, celebrities, healthcare professionals, doctors, athletes use it. Thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews. Really is a terrific product. So again, time to take ownership over your health. And go grab some of this right now. athleticgreens.com/garden. We're going to make it easy on you. We're going to give you a gift, 1-year supply of vitamin D, 5 free travel packs when you go to athleticgreens.com/garden. We will also give you a phenomenal t-shirt if you have.
Look at that thing. That's beautiful.
If you've made a purchase, we have a spot for you. We'll send you a form. You fill it out, and bang, we will send you a t-shirt, which we would love to do, and we're happy to do.
Tweet me your pictures of you in the phenomenal t-shirt at Christmas dinner. That's what I want to see. That's a Christmassy. Let's get some green in there.
Totally. Jimmy, before we move on to the Bucks, any thoughts?
Real quick, John. Yeah, one last thought on AG. If you guys haven't gotten a gift yet, you want something thoughtful, it's not too late. Toss a little AG subscription or even a one-time purchase. Use the gift code, get a couple extra travel packs, and that's a nice, thoughtful gift for a loved one. Shows you that you're thinking about them. You care about their health and their well-being. All right.
Hey, Judah, I hate to break it to you, buddy.
Dude, Judah.
We've been spending 20 freaking years in these locker rooms, dude. You got to do some homework, man.
Dude, I'll be honest. I appreciate Judah coming on in this show.
I do. I don't think you know.
I think he comes on to every show, but I'll be honest. He kind of hates on us, like from start to finish, but he can't help it. Some people are just addicted to the game, and that's fine. We'll turn him by the end of the year. I see you, Judah. I see the hate.
I've never been in a locker room,
Judah.
It's
so much easier to hate than to love people. Just, you know what? Make that a New Year's resolution. Turn some of that hate around, okay?
Turn some of the hate to love, or maybe ask some questions first before you say dumb shit. But that's all good. Anyway.
By the way, I love my haters, man. They get me up in the morning. I got to make sure I give them something to hate. You know, so I keep getting up every morning for my haters. So
my haters kind of like me. Kinda. Some of them really
they hate how much they like you. Is what it is. They hate how much they like you.
So any thoughts on, and Judah, we're just busting balls here, but we've covered a lot of sports, my man. We person, like Judah. We like
anyone who watches. Anybody who watches, we're all family here.
But
yeah, John's been in more locker rooms than I would say all the Boston reporters combined, probably, that are currently covering sports. You know, age 35 and younger.
Judah, I have athletic greens, man. Where is it?
Judah, just look at this guy. Look at him. He's literally a walking, talking athletic green.
I have it. Paint
his face green. Here. He's literally an athletic green.
I have it.
I have it at my place. Unfortunately, I'm not at my place right now.
We didn't. That's what the travel packs are for. We'll send them to you.
Yeah, I only got 5. All right.
So Jimmy, I mentioned it a little bit. I don't want to harp on it, but the bench really has turned into a pumpkin here. And that's a little worrisome. Grant was Hauser, man. Hauser is look. This is what's scary about Hauser right now, because like I said, we said this before. He's in like Peyton Pritchard land. He comes out, and if his first 3 goes, he might get a few minutes, and if it doesn't, he's done. And he's catching it and just puking it up immediately, and without setting his feet, without anything, it looks like a shot put. His feet aren't set. He's not ready for it. He's just hoping it goes in, and it's not.
He lost his mojo, man. He's lost his mojo.
And so what happened? He was the first guy off the bench, and he played 7 minutes in his first stint, and then never again. That's not great.
It's not great. I mean, it's kind of reminds. Listen, if you have one main job, and that's to
one job,
shoot from the outside, and score and shoot 3-pointers and hit them. So I think you only get so many misses at being a role player. You're not going to be Jason Tatum and just be allowed to just shoot until you finally hit one. So he's going through something right now. My only concern is that he kind of came out of nowhere to begin with. So who really is he?
Ren, send me your info. Yeah, who is he? We don't know. That we couldn't figure it out in the beginning, Jimmy.
Well, the Celtics couldn't figure it out either, John. There's a reason why I didn't trust him at all last season, and why he stayed in Maine, right? And then he came in gangbusters to start the year, and we're all like, the Celtics don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know talent when they see it. So he's kind of regressed a little bit, and he's not the only one. And when you look at this bench, and there were some experts experts who, and I say experts in quotes because whatever, there were some talking heads who questioned the depth of this team before the season started. Maybe they're right, because when you look at the roster, you've obviously got a very established player in Malcolm Brogdon. Grant Williams has his days. Right now, he certainly doesn't.
$20 million player right there. Give him the bag.
Derrick White has, had a successful career, but I think we can all agree his Celtics career has been very up and down. After those players, what are we really working with here? We're not really working with much. So it's not a very deep team. You need those bench players to basically be playing at the top of their game, and we're not even sure where that is. Again, when you go back to Hauser, go back to Grant, these aren't guys that have been doing it for a long time. So aside from Brogdon, who when he's healthy and luckily for the most part he has been this year, great player that you can depend on off the bench. Derrick White, I have some trust issues with still. I understand that he's a plus defender, and when he is feeling confident on the offensive end, there's reason to be okay with it. But I'm still not quite there with, again, I have some trust issues and I have to work through them. I understand that. But after that, really, what are we talking about? I mean, even Mazzulla hasn't shown really much trust in a lot of these guys on a regular basis. You can go down the line. Cornette, Vonleh, Pritchard, Blake. I mean, none of these guys are getting consistent playing time.
It's Grant, it's Rob, it's Brogdon, and that's it. So you're
Rob,
8 deep.
Rob should be in the starting lineup, which is going to, it's going to move, White to the bench.
White back down, and then you're looking at White. If you do that, you're looking at a White,
Brogdon, and Grant. You've got an 8-person rotation,
with
which is
some
fine when you
Cornette
come to the
minutes
playoffs.
Sprinkled in about 8 to 10 Cornette minutes, and that's about it, and then once a week.
But where's you don't have much depth, when it comes to the bigs, right? Still, you never did, and it doesn't look like you're going to. You really do, and I hate to say it because you don't want to depend on it, but you kind of need to hope that somebody gets bought out, right? At that deadline, and that you kind of get lucky and you make sure the Celtics theoretically should be in a position where they are definitely a team that a proven veteran who's looking to win a championship is going to want to go to. It's going to be them. It's going to be them, the Bucks. Guys love going to Miami and a couple other teams that'll be in play. But you really have to hope that the right guy, and I don't know who it is. That's probably a question for Bobby, and we can have a whole topic on that sometime. But it goes back to you're pretty thin. You're one injury away from being extremely thin, right? And if these guys aren't playing up to snuff, and again, it goes Grant Williams. We can look at Derrick White aside from today. These are guys that you kind of need for 20-plus minutes a game in order to be winning at the clip you want to win at, because you can't depend on 40 from Tatum and 30 from Brown every game, or 30 from Tatum and 28 from Brown every game. You just can't.
Nope, you cannot. But you got it tonight, and that was good. But it's one of those starters.
You got it tonight, but you haven't gotten it in the last few games, and those guys have been nowhere to be found either.
Yeah, thank you. Super chat here. We've talked about this, and we do appreciate it, Michael. Thanks a lot. It's an interesting conversation about the third All-Star, and if it is somebody, it has to be Marcus.
Thanks,
but
Michael.
again, statistically, it's going to be difficult. I do agree, though, that Defensive Player of the Year does carry, and a team with a record like the Celtics have should carry and get you 3 All-Stars. However, if they come back down to earth as they've been lately, and they're kind of if they were a runaway, super dominant team that it was playing at like a 80 winning percentage clip heading into the All-Star break, it would be really hard to not give them 3 All-Stars. I think it's going to be really hard to give them 3 All-Stars just because Marcus...
There's so much talent in the league, too.
If Marcus was at the third... If Marcus was 14, 15 points per game with the assists, I think you have a shot. It's going to be really hard to get him in. And yeah, you're right. I mean, Artest, the artist formerly known as Ron Artest.
World Peace.
Chandler, those guys. Yeah, they didn't have...
You know what, though?
Artest certainly didn't have... Yeah.
I think Marcus Smart is collectively our MVP, and I think we get his worth. I think Marcus Smart gets it.
He might get it.
Marcus Smart's value to an All-Star game, if you're trying to win it, is probably pretty minimal. But they're not really playing defense. I know that it's like the format's changed and it actually has made it a little bit more fun and competitive, but I don't see him really being in the game at any important part. If it's from a strategic point of view, or if it's from a viewership point of view, I don't know if he's their guy. Again, I know his worth to the Celtics, and I think at this point you're a fool if you've been watching the Celtics for the last however many years since Marcus Smart's been in the league. and you don't understand his worth, and you don't understand why he is so, likable and hashtag winning plays, then you're just not paying attention. But it's not going to always translate. It's not going to ever really translate into statistics when it comes to points and all that stuff. So if you're casual, as they say, you're going to be scratching your head if Marcus Smart makes the All-Star team. We would get it, but I don't think the national audience really wants to.
They're going to be like, what? Because he's gonna leave out somebody who's got some like a Garland or somebody who's got
from
some
a team
stats.
that's not being represented. Exactly right.
Yeah. So it's the Middleton pick from last year. That's the same exact thing. Middleton's stats were close though. That's the thing. It just, there was probably 2-3 guys statistically that looked like they were better, but you had, coaches and people who vote on it say like, yeah, we do value winning, and you got
right.
These guys are sacrificing parts of their game. It's like the big three Celtics. I mean, Garnett's, points per game went way down here, but he's having he was.
I don't even know if
MVP.
I don't even know if players would even be willing to do that anymore. And it wasn't even that long ago. It's just the league is so different now.
Yeah. So we do want to transition, and Jimmy and I'll kind of wrap it up here when we talk a little bit about the Bucks. Couple nights ago, it was like, oh, Bucks are going to crush them. Bucks are
18,
Bucks are in a little bit of a bad way right now. Middleton missed tonight's game. We don't know what his status is for Christmas.
I hope he plays. Come on.
They've lost 2 straight.
Healthy.
3 of 5. They're playing. I mean, they've lost. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of their last 7, including losses to the Hornets, to the Rockets. They had that ridiculous one. They got
Ingles back.
They got croaked by the Grizzlies, and now they've lost to 2 of. So if you're looking at the best teams in the East, supposedly, we thought, Jimmy, a couple weeks ago, we thought it was Celtics, Bucks, and everybody else, right? Now it's Celtics, Bucks, Nets, Cavs, and they're going through the gauntlet right now. They lost to the Cavs a few days ago. They lost to the Nets tonight. Now they've got the Celtics. The Bucks are kind of on one right now, where they're in a little bit of a. They're not in a great place. I'm not sure.
They're going through one.
They're going through one right now, and so it's not as. I mean, let's pull back a little bit, because I think I got ahead of myself for sure, thinking like, it's Celtics Bucks in the end and no one can stop them. It looks like it's going to be more competitive here. Obviously teams can separate, but
it's a long season.
The matchup looks a little different, because a lot of people have been like circling it like.
I'm still personally
assuming if the Celtics beat the Bucks, like the way they were playing, the coronation to the unstoppable beast of the East would be like when they go and croak Milwaukee on Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. But now it's like, there's a lot of teams out there who are playing pretty well. You have lost to Cleveland twice. Brooklyn's starting to look a little bit better. I don't know that this game means as much as we'd put it up to be, but it's still very exciting because you haven't seen them yet.
It is exciting. And you know what? We need to just appreciate that. It's just 2 awesome teams that are meeting at, the best day of the year, really, for the NBA, and it's going to be a primetime game. And if we can just look at that in a micro aspect, it's going to be awesome. Who knows what it's going to mean by game 82, but these are 2 of the best teams in the NBA. You can still make the case that they still are the 2 best teams, regardless of where they currently are, playing over the last week or 2. I hope that Middleton plays, because, again, I want to see them healthy versus a healthy Celtics team. I hope Rob plays for the Celtics, obviously. But you're right. It's not just the winner of this game is the surefire number 1 seed for the, going into the NBA Finals. I still would expect both of them to be up there by the end. But Nets are playing well. Philly's right there, to be honest. I feel like no one's talking about Philly.
Yep.
And the Nets being good is quite the I don't even know what the word, what's the word I'm looking for? Wrinkle in things. That's probably it. Because I wasn't expecting it. I assumed, especially with the Kyrie stuff, and it was just like implosion city, Ben Simmons and all that. And here they are. Again, talent wins out in the NBA. And if these guys just play basketball, it's hard to argue that they aren't arguably the most talented team in the NBA. So as crazy as it sounds. So that makes it fun, though. I want competitiveness. I want big games. I want to see hard-fought series. So I'm fired up for Christmas.
Man.
Yeah. I think we all assumed that Middleton was going to come back for the Bucks and they were just going to take off, and that just hasn't happened. Same with the Celtics. We thought Rob was going to come back and they were going to take off, and that hasn't happened either.
Brooklyn, 8 straight games right now. Celtics 23-10, half game up on the Bucks, game and a half up on Cleveland. only 2 games up on Brooklyn. That's won 8 straight. The Sixers have won 7 straight.
Yeah,
19 and 12.
Sixers, man.
Three games separate the top 5 teams. Pretty impressive. And the Knicks had won 8 in a row, for goodness sake, and they just dropped 2 straight.
Wow.
So
I didn't even know that.
Exactly right. They came out of nowhere there. To rattle off 8 straight wins and put themselves in the conversation. They're above that cut line in the 6th spot. Philly, man, Harden had himself a stat line tonight. I don't know if you saw it. 20, 21, and 11.
Wow, what?
21 dimes. 21 freaking assists tonight.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense, actually. Who scored all the points? Just feeding it to Embiid?
Others, I guess. I don't know. That's crazy,
Damn.
right?
That is crazy. How many turnovers? 15?
I don't know. I just saw somebody. I saw it on Twitter, and then I was looking it up a little while ago. I'll pull it up again. But
No, I'll look it up. I got it
20,
right here.
20, 21, and 11. Unbelievable.
Against the Clips, huh?
Yeah, so the Sixers are playing well too.
Damn. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Only 3 turnovers. Really incredible. 11
Wow, yeah,
rebounds.
that's
21.
Only 6 threes.
21 assists. Yeah. Unreal.
And Embiid was 18 for 30. He had 44 points.
So the
yeah,
East is real.
Yeah, man. And you know what? I think a lot of people had Philly. Not a lot of people, but a lot of people had Philly right up there with the Celtics, I think, to start the year, and some of them had Philly number 1. So them sort of figuring it out is not a shock. It shouldn't be a shock to anybody. Sometimes it just takes teams a little bit longer to figure out what works and what doesn't, and they're going through certain health issues that half the time we don't even know about. And again, it's a long season. Teams are trying to figure out when to rest guys, when to play guys, and playoff positioning. Oftentimes, some of these teams, home court, it is what it is. You go into on the road and you band together, you win one, and now all of a sudden you flipped home court. It's not really the focus for a lot of these teams. I think they do care about matchups, and if they can finagle their way into a favorable matchup, they will. But they're not fighting for a 3 seed versus a 4 seed. You know what I mean? So they're going to win, enough games to be comfortable with where they are once the playoffs come around. And that's when the game changes. And that's why it's great that the Celtics are playing the way they are. But who's going to show up in the playoffs? Or which Celtics team is going to show up? Because we've seen 2 different teams this season. And we've seen them last year in the playoffs go from a dominant team against, like, Brooklyn, for example, and then S to B against Golden State after going out to a lead there. So it's impossible to predict what's going to happen on the road. That's why I'm just fired up for this next game. We've been talking about it for a few weeks. We've been looking towards it. I'm sure the players have. They won't admit to it, but they're human and they hear and see everything that's going on, and they know that it's a game that they can gauge themselves at. So many teams want to gauge themselves up against the Celtics. This is a Celtics chance to go up against a team that they want to see where they're at.
Yeah, it's fun. These are always fun games, and you want to see everybody play.
Gage. He said Gage too. Look at that. Vibey music. Shout out Gage.
Thanks, Vibey.
How about this one? Here's another one.
We're vibing.
Merry Christmas, he says. Merry Christmas, guys, and thanks for the great content. Can you remember a time when the Bruins and Celtics both had the best record in their leagues this late in the year? It's been fun. I can't remember, but John, you've been around for what, 60, 70 years?
75 years I've been watching. Yeah, back in '03.
I think it was 49 that they were both. I mean, there was a lot less teams in the league, but
honestly, like the '88 Bruins, the Celtics were still competitive then, and the '88 Bruins went to the Cup. That was a really good team. '90 Bruins actually had a better overall record. '88 Bruins were a bit, I wouldn't say an underdog, but they weren't a juggernaut. They just had an awesome run in the playoffs. If you guys want history tours, they got 2 guys.
I don't think he wanted you to go year.
They got 2 guys coming off the Olympic teams, Craig Janney off the U.S. team and Bob Joyce off of the Canadian team. Late push. It was like adding like a first liner and a second liner to an already good team, and that kind of propelled them through the playoffs there. They beat Montreal postseason for the first time in a long time. Those teams were both competitive. Obviously, that was the year the Celtics conceded to the Pistons, Jimmy. Yeah, exactly. You wanted to know?
They conceded. No, I didn't.
Now you know.
I didn't. I just wanted to talk about this year's Bruins team. I think they're a blast. I actually
John
went to the
older
game.
than Bob Ryan.
Seriously, if Bob Ryan would actually go year by year if he was on right now. Damn. Okay, Ricky. I went to the Bruins game Monday. It was a blast.
It's the best.
They scored 7 goals. I mean, it's just like, keep doing this. Keep scoring goals. This is so easy. No, but shout out to the Bruins. I actually am a
I'm
Bruins
this old and I've yet to
season
go into
ticket
a locker
holder.
room.
No big deal.
Yeah. No, Bruins are fun. They won again tonight, 4-3 against the Devils.
Yeah, they had a comeback. Was it yesterday? Down 2-0. Bees are buzzing. The Bees are absolutely buzzing. And you know what? You can tell that they're just having a blast. They love they all, and it's, I guess, typical like hockey guys, man. They just get along so well with each other. These guys love playing hockey with one another. I'm sure that they're friends off the ice. I kind of get similar vibes with the Celtics. I think that they genuinely enjoy each other's company, and I think that does go a long way into success. So you can build a healthy culture, and you make it like any workplace. You know, when you work, John, we've had some awesome, times just at NBC or CSN New England, just because it's fun working with the people there. Like it's just fun to go to work, and if you can go to work regardless of what it is and enjoy it, then that makes the experience that much better. It makes production a lot much better too.
Yeah.
Well, in some cases, other cases you might just screw off the whole time.
It's fun to have a fun work environment. I loved hanging out with the web guys over there, and talking to obviously the late great Art Martone, rest in peace, Art.
Art,
who we lost tragically this year. Jimmy's former boss, a mentor.
Yeah, absolutely.
I considered him a mentor, even though I wasn't directly in his department. I learned a lot from him. So
now he's a baseball. Talk about history. He was a baseball historian. He could literally go year for year on the Red Sox. Him and Sean McAdam would just sit down and just bounce whatever random team off of each other. And they could talk baseball they did talk baseball for hours and hours and hours.
That's why I loved Art. I would basically ask, come down and ask him, is it okay for me to think what I think right now? And he'd be like, yeah, I think so.
And Art would, Art might wake up and feel a certain type of way, and I'd check the website, and it would just be like, all right, this is how we're shaping the news today. And then you guys would probably run with something, and then all of a sudden John Henry's at the podium the next day.
I know. I loved it. I would go back and forth with him a ton. A little digression, but honestly, Art, it's
absolutely, man.
Great guy, deserves to be remembered and recognized. For this super chat again, thanks Vibes here. Merry Christmas.
This guy's all over the place.
All over the place. Biggest coaching issues contribute to falling back on old habits besides the timeouts. I don't know. We kind of went over this. Jimmy, what do you think?
Coaching issues that you think contribute to falling back to
old sorry,
habits?
I lost it. That was an accident.
Yeah, I got it right here. No, I don't. Okay, well, I didn't read it.
I got it. There it is. Yep.
What are your biggest coaching issues that you think contribute to falling back to old habits besides the timeouts? Okay, that's probably a better question for Bobby. He's more of the X's and O's guys. I'd probably just be talking circles, but I don't know. What do you think? Biggest coaching issues? My thing with coaches, it's more just do they have a feel for the game in the moment? Can they get guys to sort of play for them, and can they get guys to buy in? I don't feel that Mazzulla hasn't done that. I feel like he's been able to do that. I think there is a history there, obviously, because he was an assistant there over last season. So there's a comfortability there for sure, and there's a respect factor. I haven't seen enough out of him to know what type of an X's and O's guy he is. The fact that he's not super into calling timeouts tells me that he doesn't feel necessary to have this Rolodex of ATOs that he wants to run through guys. So maybe that's just a part of his coaching that hasn't really developed to that point yet, or maybe he's just not interested in that side of it. I think he's more of a guy that wants to get the players thinking a certain way, and that's probably partially what he learned under what's his name, the coach that we no longer talk about. Ime, thank you. But I don't know. I don't know if there's a good answer to that.
For me, stuff we've talked about here, I just think, and I think Jimmy kind of agrees, I think way too much attention is paid to coaches when things go bad. Such and such has to do this, has to do that. I'll say this, the timeouts is an annoying thing I wish he did differently. because I do think it's a coach's job in game to manage the game, to see what's happening, to kind of feel it. And what do you think, what does your team need in the moment, whether it be a timely substitution or a timely timeout, who's got it, who doesn't have it, being able to come off your rotations because you see something in the game that makes you think differently. Don't be afraid to switch it up just because you had one unit playing in the first half. Don't be afraid to play him in the second. I actually like what he does with his rotations. I think he plays his stars a little too long, but that and the timeouts has nothing to do with them playing like ass for 2 weeks. That's just them playing. So Joe's timeout is not going to make them not play poorly. They just played poorly. So I don't think the habits are Joe. I think
I don't either. I think Joe's acknowledging they have to play to their strengths, and their strengths are outside shooting. He looks at the roster like we look at the roster and say, they don't have a bunch of guys that are going to bang down low. They don't have a bunch of guys, aside from really Jaylen Brown, who's one of the best at it, they're going to be slashers, right? So they're going to live and die by the three. So credit to him for at least leaning into that and realizing that, okay, the shots are falling. We're winning games. When they're not, this is the product that you get, guys. We're not going to be able to just do a 180 and all of a sudden be this paint interior dominant force. They don't have the clientele to make that happen. So I don't have a ton of problems with the coaching staff. I think, especially based on the fact that he was kind of thrust into this, at a moment's notice, I think he's done a pretty commendable job. The question basically wants us to question what we think is wrong without actually
I don't think
talking about what we actually think is wrong, which to me it does go back to the timeouts. I can't even comment really on some of his X's and O's and play calling out of timeouts because I just don't think we've seen enough and we haven't been put in that situation enough. But Bobby seems to be focusing on his attitude right now when things are going not the way you kind of want them to go. So I am also sort of piggybacking off of that. I want to see how he kind of responds to that, and we're seeing it, I guess.
To me, Jimmy, you lose the coach. The only thing, the thing that matters the most, all of that stuff, some of it makes a difference, some of it doesn't. Some of it makes less of a difference than we think it makes, and it doesn't really factor into the overall kind of outcome or team play. I really do think the coach, I put it at 2 to 3%. I just don't think that it's that big a deal. Where I do think where Joe can run into problems, what we don't know, because we don't have a lot of nobody, even Bobby, who's there all the time, and Sherrod, Josue, we don't have a lot of reporting behind the scenes in terms of how they're responding to him in practices and meetings and X, Y, and Z. When a team, the coach. There's only one thing you really have to worry about with a coach. One, if he's just dumb and just underprepared, not putting the team through the drills, doesn't really understand the game. Not dumb, but Steve Nash was not an NBA coach, okay? He was not equipped to do it.
He got kind of screwed too, though.
It was clear they wanted more from him. They wanted more coaching from him, and he wasn't ready to coach.
Right.
Okay? Joe Mazzulla coaches them, even if he's not super experienced. He's a guy who prepares like crazy, understands the game, is a super hard worker.
He didn't get the job because he's Joe Mazzulla, like Steve Nash may or may not have gotten
worker, so it's not a question of whether he gets basketball and coaches them. He totally does. You only run one risk, and that's losing respect to the players or the players tuning you out, or when you have tough times, being able to tell the players, stop playing like an asshole. Ime, being an ex-player, being older than them, having a little bit more gravitas, was able to pull that out. Mazzulla at 34, you wonder, he kind of comes in and he's like,
that's what I think.
They saw you. You were, hey, look, let's use an analogy. You work in an office somewhere and somebody is third in line and all of a sudden they're your boss and you're like, I kind of remember you when you were the guy who would get my water. That could be a problem, but I don't think that they haven't shown that. I think if they came out struggling, they would have had problems. I think he bought himself a shit ton of goodwill with their early start because the players developed a little trust. Now they just got to not be assholes. That's it.
Yeah, I think the Celtics wouldn't have named Mazzulla into this role if they got the impression that the players didn't respect him prior to that happening. I don't think he was just a guy making copies, at the printer all day. He's a guy that really they took a liking to and they respected. Now I had a second to think about it. My only other gripe would be probably, I think there's been times, and again, this might go back to timeouts a little bit too, because he could have theoretically called the timeout and done this, but sometimes when things aren't going the way you want them to go, I know we just criticized the bench, but try somebody else. There was a game, I forget who it was against. he just tossed in like Pritchard and Cornette, and those guys completely changed the game in the second half. They provided a crap load of energy, and the Celtics ended up coming back and winning that game. I feel like that doesn't happen a lot. Like, he's pretty much ride or die with whoever the guys are that he's already thought of going in ahead of time. He doesn't go to Pritchard a lot in situations where maybe they need a spark. You know, there are situations, again, I know maybe I'm wrong, but like, there were times where like toss Von Lay out there. Maybe like he could just provide some sort of physicality down low. I know Blake is a little bit limited in the amount of minutes and games he can play in a row, but again, this is your bench, and I feel like there are times where just go to them a little bit more, you know, or make a change with the 5 that are out there, whether it's putting a Brogdon in for a little bit more time than I think Brogdon gets at time. I think Brogdon should play more minutes. So
Brogdon did not get a ton tonight at all.
No, and I don't know why I'm solo right now, but
I just did it. I thought it would be fun.
Oh, okay. Well,
sometimes I like to change graphics too.
Well, I was like kind of towards the end of my point, but I think that would be my biggest gripe aside from timeouts is playing time for certain guys and not being scared to make an in-game change to maybe one way you were thinking when it comes to players.
Yeah. Addressing this one again, vibes is just friggin'. I'm almost afraid to like shut it down because yeah,
we'll keep it going.
Just keep it going here, but shooting threes at a high clip when they're not falling, have an issue with them not attacking the paint. Yes, look, the coach can do that, and I think he does do that. I don't think he's watching them shoot a shit ton of threes and then saying after, guys, let's get back to what we were doing before, attack the paint. But when you're out there, you're in a fight. You're just going to kind of do what you do, and sometimes you just lapse into bad habits. I think the three-point shooting stuff, the way that it went, and again, the regression to the mean being this, like them crashing so hard after being so high is really, that disparity is what got you. But, I mean, this is like anything in life. If you do something and you experience success, like I play poker, you know, sometimes you're just on one of those streaks where you feel like you're catching everything, you know, you're just flopping, you know, a set almost every single hand, or you're catching stuff on the turn or the river. So you start to get cocky, and then all of a sudden you stay in with the exact same hands, and then, you know, 5, 6, 7 straight games, you're like, Jesus, I'm not hitting anything anymore. It just happens. You start to get cocky, you play a little loose, you get away from what was working from you, you get away from your fundamentals, and that's what it was. So the Celtics were just so used to just almost every three that they took. If half of them are going in, they all seem like good shots, but they stopped working for them a little bit. So again, I thought they worked for some of them a little bit more tonight than they had in the past, but it's just bad. You get into bad habits. It is what it is.
Facts. I got PTSD for a second.
Yeah. No, I do want to do a.
We haven't done an apology game in a minute.
I want to do a full show of apologies.
We totally should. It's almost like a Festivus, but it's
or
apologies
a Festivus,
instead of gripes. Instead of we should have done a Festivus show.
I thought about that.
If anyone could do it, we could.
Would it be gripes with one another?
Well, we could do one of those too, but it would be probably gripes with the Celtics,
gripes
or the
with
NBA
the
in general, just the world in general. Maybe we could go on all day with it, but
yeah, no doubt about it. Yes. Vibes, come on, man. I'm gonna shut it down because I want you to keep I want you to keep your money.
Hey, shout out Vibes, man. We appreciate it, but also we appreciate everybody who watches.
We appreciate all of you.
We
and again,
we didn't post a lot of them, but I do see as many of them as I can see. Sometimes they're just coming rapid fire. I can't catch up to them, but I should have commented on regression to the mean long ago.
Atonement hour is exactly what I was thinking because I have a few things I want to atone for sure, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, at some point.
And it is, I agree, Andy. Fun chat tonight. Everyone's in a good. Yeah, you know, we're all in better moods after a win.
Yeah, you know, and we get it. It's one win, and people always. And I just saw a comment. It's like these guys always overreact to the losses. It's like I think we're properly reacting after losses and after wins. I mean, I don't know. Like, what are we? We're just going by what we see. Same when we criticize players. We're going off of what we see. We're not hating. We're just going off of what we see, and we'll praise the players too. So, same after a win and a loss. Yeah, we'll criticize the hell out of them after a loss, but it wouldn't be fair if we didn't praise them after a win. And this wasn't even a great win. But anyone who's been on a team, a win is a win. You get into the locker room, you know, you walk off the court after a win. You don't really care how you got it. You don't care who it's against. You got the job done. You move on to the next one. You have a little momentum. So, That's all you can ask for. And again, big game coming up on Sunday.
Yep.
Everyone's gonna be fired up. Everyone's gonna be, hopefully you got what you wanted under the Christmas tree, and all the vibes are good going in the game.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they don't play tomorrow. I think Tatum would have missed the game, wrapping gifts for Deuce.
Yeah.
So
Right.
luckily they got an extra day.
The 26th is off, day after Christmas off. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, we're good. We do appreciate
We do appreciate
all of you. We appreciate this comment and comments like this, and we appreciate you guys being generally cheerful tonight, and spreading
it
some
must
kind
be,
of
thank you, Rad Dog. Must
good
be the
vibes.
Christmas spirit.
Good vibes, spreading some Christmas spirit as we do head into Christmas. We are going to shut it down and let you guys get to whatever it is you need to get to, because tomorrow's a busy day of shopping for some of us.
You're probably driving to one family member to another. You got to finish your Christmas shopping. You got to do some cooking. John's probably got 3 pies in the oven tomorrow.
I bit off more than I could chew. I always say I'm going to keep it simple, and I went too far. Again.
You kind of have don't you kind of have to recover from the Thanksgiving gate pie that we had?
It worked out well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It worked out well. Like I said, Laura recanted.
She
her
did, but
statement.
the damage was already done at that point.
It hurt. It hurt. It was like,
Yeah.
You ever see the Chevy Chase Comedy Central roast?
I don't know, probably not.
Oh God, it's epic, because like he thought he was going to be surrounded by friends. There was a bunch of people who didn't know him, and they just basically told him how unfunny he was and what an asshole. And when he got up to deliver his normally like your roast at the very end, he just goes, "Well, that hurt."
Yeah.
So the pie thing
It's all
hurt.
kind of true.
It's true. The pie thing hurt.
The pie thing hurt.
No, I got a lot. I got a lot to do.
Yeah, we all do. But you know what? Let's not forget
Luis,
the true spirit of Christmas is not gift giving or pie making. It's it is actually. How
about
it's
Luis
gift receiving.
remembering my wife's name? Yes.
No, you just said it.
Did I? Okay, I thought
did,
I was like, that's a good catch.
That would be creepy.
She didn't take it back. She was overruled by massive forces. Her brother, who's a big foodie, was like, "What are you talking about? That pie was awesome." So,
well, to be honest,
and she's
John,
like, it's fine. You know what the issue
she's
she
like,
had?
it's fine. And she pulled you off the floor as you were crying. She's like, no, it's fine. I actually really did like it, John. I was wrong.
Stop talking pies.
Yeah. Like, no, she took it back. She saw me about to jump out the window, and she took it back.
That the meme with the guy drinking the Clorox, and trying to throw himself off the.
Yeah.
That was me.
He's joking. But when you say you hate the pie.
That was me after the pie. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. No.
No pie. We're doing pumpkin cheesecake squares.
Okay, so you took a pie and you cut it into squares.
Pumpkin cheesecake, squares, because we got to share.
Is cheesecake a pie?
No, we got to share.
Is it a cake?
I don't know. It's a tough one.
I would say cheesecake is a pie. I would say a hot dog is a sandwich.
Yep. And we're doing brownies with little candy cane kind of peppermint crumbles.
Oh, okay. A little candy cane
Yeah, little crunch, like brownie crunch sort of thing. Yeah.
Little candy cane bay.
I hate mint, but the family likes it. I think mint's for brushing teeth. I don't put it in my desserts, but
I like mint chip ice cream, actually, believe it or not.
Doing it for everybody else.
Well, now we know what to do to keep you away from everyone's food. Just sprint the little peppermint on there.
It's a 2-meal day. That's the downside with Christmas, because I do brunch with a frittata and French toast and a berry compote and then we eat again. And
what's the downside? That it's not 3 meals?
No, because I got to prep 2, and then the second one is short ribs and blah 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 and a bunch, and then it's like a protein course. It's a friggin' long day.
There's gonna be thousands of people that are watching this that are not gonna have 2 awesome meals on Christmas. You're like, yeah, it sucks, man. I'm gonna have this amazing brunch
I gotta
and this
make 'em.
huge dinner. That's
I gotta
true,
make
you're
it.
Make you're that type of guy who loves to make it so he can complain about making it.
Yes and no.
Love making it.
I love making it, but I always overextend it, and then I
You're a people
freak.
pleaser.
Then I freak. Then I stress because I'm like, ooh, one more thing. This would be great. Let's add this. Just sitting in there trying to get it done.
But that's you. You kind of need that. That's like you need to be stressed. You couldn't just low key casually make like a meal.
That's
you need
how I
to be like, oh shoot, you know what? Now I'm gonna like make a rack of lamb. I think I have time. And then it's like now you're stressed.
4 short ribs all day. Yeah, just screaming to my short order cooks.
Hey, empanadas are sweating. Empanadas are sweating. He's in the back.
86 cauliflower mash.
Your kids are like running around like trying to help you out. They're 4 years old.
Luis, I'll tell you this. Will I be on Phantom Gourmet? No. But one of my early jobs was as a producer on Phantom Gourmet, believe it or not.
No kidding.
Yep.
What happened?
I was
just
doing
a stepping stone, or did you get caught like eating the ingredients?
No, I was just as a side hustle. I was doing the hidden jewel each week. So sometimes I would go on the shoots and we'd work it out and I'd kind of
You're kind of the Phantom.
And then I would edit them. Yeah.
You're almost like you might be the Phantom in all this.
It was fun.
Interesting.
It was fun. Huh. I love that. Oh yeah, we do food all day. Who won, fellas? Yeah.
Who won? Oh, who's winning? It's like that Zoolander. Who's winning the match? Or
who is winning the match?
Hey, wow! I got something positive out of Judah. Look at that! I knew it was gonna happen. Me and you, Judah.
You turned him.
We're so much more similar than you ever imagined.
I knew I didn't like him.
Me and him are just gonna be. One day you're gonna walk in on us. We're gonna just be eating mint chip, not like out of the same carton. We're just gonna have our own. But
I will say Oreo mint is better than mint chip, if I'm gonna eat it. But I don't like either.
That just means you like Oreos more than chocolate chips, then.
I think so.
So you'd rather eat an Oreo cookie over a chocolate chip cookie, probably.
No, just the chip. The chip.
Okay, so you like chocolate chip over Oreo? Are you a double stuff guy or are you a regular Oreo guy?
I don't think I've eaten an Oreo in about 30 years. Do people still eat those?
I mean, yeah, they're
who aren't 10 years old.
I gotta go. Yeah, dude. I'll. You kidding me? If somebody's like, "You want Oreo?" I'm gonna accept that offer.
Thank you, Andy.
No mint in anything. What about toothpaste?
That's it. Mint for gum and toothpaste, not in desserts, guys. What's wrong with everybody?
It's not like mint is not in every dessert, but like sometimes you just mix it up, and it's not. Whatever. I understand. I get it. I get why people wouldn't love it, but there's something about mint chip.
Yeah.
It's like the Andes, those little chocolates with the mint in the middle. You can't tell me that those aren't good. The Andes, like your grandmother had them. They're in the little green foil.
Yeah. My grandmother definitely did not have them.
After dinner mints, not yours. I don't know exactly what your grandmother had, but generally speaking, grandparents would have those.
Yeah.
Chocolates with mint.
No thanks. No thanks.
I'll
pass.
I mean, I don't want to like die on that hill. I mean, I like mint chip. That's pretty much it. But going back to my Oreo take real quick, I'm a regular Oreo guy. I think double stuff
is gross.
It's too much. I don't need all that in the middle.
So I'll tell you this: the problem, people have Oreos wrong. You don't want more stuffing; you want less. The filling is the worst part. The cookie's the best part. It's not even close.
Right, Oreo is the cracker part.
The double stuff is disgusting. The filling is disgusting. You actually want to minimize that. Now they have thin ones. That's even better.
Thin ones are great. I'm wondering if they're just going to do Oreo chips someday, and they don't even have the filling. I bet you there's people out there that would buy it. You can't tell me that people don't just want to eat the cookie part of it.
Well, on a separate topic, I've never understood why some company hasn't come out and just created mac and cheese powder and just sold that, and not made you buy some shitty 6-ounce, box of pasta, and you can just make it with any pasta. But anyway, I digress.
That's actually not a bad thought. Why don't we just... Well, now
Garden Report cheese sauce.
Yeah. Now it's out there for everyone to steal, but I think that's actually $1 billion idea, to be completely honest. Craft powder.
Yeah, mint is terrible.
No free ads, but I think we all know what you were talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, guys. We're wrapping it up.
Mint mac and cheese.
Something
to think about. Something to think about. A little sprinkle.
Yeah. All right. Later, guys.
We're
done. Celtics win. Everybody loves it. The Bucks, 5 o'clock tip-off. We will have the full crew here in a small, short, how you doing Garden Report. We expect everyone's going to be...
Depends. If they win, it might go a little bit longer. We might get into some stuff. If they lose, it's going to be very short.
It could, but we are looking.
Bring your eggnog, bring whatever it is you like to sip on Christmas.
Drinks are allowed.
We'll have some fun. We'll definitely have some fun. And a Merry Christmas to everybody until we meet again. Christmas kind of night, I guess it'll be, right?
We will see you guys Christmas night.